No matter what I did, the thoughts kept coming. I had horrific thoughts about harming my wife, and the only way to stop them was count by tens. I was confident and I unplugged my curling iron every morning. But as soon as I walked out the door, the thoughts began. Thoughts that I had left on, and that it would start a fire. I had to go back and check again and again. There's a speed bump on the way to my apartment building, and every time when I went over, I was afraid to run someone over. So I had to turn around, get out, and check. I never got off my parking lot. Every public surface I touched felt like it was covered with germs, and the only way to stop to feel better was to wash my hands 20 times a day, sometimes even more. My OCD began when I was around 8 years old, and began with the fear of horrible things occurring to my parents. For example, if my parents were late from work, I would have to touch stuff around the house until it felt right, and the threat was that if I didn't, they might get into an accident. OCD. Pure OCD or pure O is a type of obsessive-compulsive disorder that is sometimes neglected. Here's everything you need to know about pure OCD symptoms and treatment options. OCD is a serious condition that causes great distress and really impacts people's life. People become overwhelmed by their thoughts and anxiety and feel like hostages to the ritual that help take away their anxiety. People with OCD experience obsessions, which are specific thoughts that are intense and intrusive. People don't choose to have them, and they're often very distressing. Obsessions make it hard to concentrate to get anything done. A lot of times, these thoughts are about germs or safety, but they could be about anything really. Interviewing with a different type of people with OCD, there was this person, and in her case, it was a curling iron. If you ask her, Sarah, she will tell you she knows she unplugged it. She remembers doing it, but the thoughts that she didn't were so strong, telling her she left it on. It was so scary and it made her feel unsafe, like the thoughts her house might burn down, all because of her curling iron. The second symptom of OCD is compulsions. There's a ritual behaviors, and people with OCD do them to help deal with the anxiety, horror, or distress they feel because of their obsessive thoughts. There are many types of compulsive behaviors. There is a preconception that someone with this is someone who washes their hands frequently and requires everything to be immaculately clean, tidy, and organized. But this isn't true for everyone who suffers from OCD. It's possible that you are having intrusive ideas. For example, suppose you're driving your vehicle and you're threatened you will veer into oncoming traffic. Checking compulsions come in a variety of forms. In her case, she needed to double-check her curling iron. She returned home, walked upstairs, said it was unplugged, went back to work, and then did it all over again. She found it quite difficult to get to work on any given day. Most people would describe OCD in one word: exhausting. She knew that she doesn't need to do this at all. She really felt completely out of control. But there's the good news. OCD can be treated. People with OCD can overcome their obsessive thoughts and compulsive habits that have taken over their lives using a variety of treatments. The most successful treatment is cognitive behavior therapy, or CBT. People who use CBT work hard to control their thoughts and modify their behaviors as a result. There's a version of CBT that is specifically designed for people with OCD. ERP stands for Exposure and Response Prevention. It also helps to delay or resist ritual compulsions, as well as cope with the anxiety that results in a different way. Anxiety becomes less damaging over time, and it may even go away. Furthermore, many people get comfort with the specific drug that aids in control of obsessive thoughts. Several SSRIs, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, are used to treat OCD, and they have proven to be effective in many cases. For many patients, a combination of therapy and medicine is the best option. Sarah's anxiety was prevented by this medication, and her thoughts about the curling iron became much less distressing. She noted in her treatment that she learned how to delay going back to check on it. She struggled at first, but with the help of her therapist, she was able to take the medication and overcome her anxiety. She eventually proved to herself that she was capable. Obsessive compulsive disorder has a significant impact on people's life, making them feel as though their unsettling thoughts and rituals have control over them. It doesn't have to be that way with evidence-based treatment. People can learn to question their own beliefs and control their actions. They have the ability to take control of their lives again.
What do you think about these facts that we talk about? Leave a comment below. Like this video, share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to PsychWell. Until next time.